30 years, we've been having Family Month at Rock Springs Church. You've been a part of every one of them for all these years. And so what they wanted us to do, they wanted you and I to kind of take a walk down memory lane. Barbara, talk to the people that are watching about how we met.
Neither one of us was going to the doctor, but I went with my mother there to get some glasses for my dad. We seen each other right there in the doctor's office for the first time.
I remember you stared me down.
I sure did. I sure did. A week before I met you, I remember I got down beside the bed and I asked the Lord to please send me someone who loved to go to church as much as I did. And I didn't think about that being a preacher, but when you came along, I just knew you were the one.
Well, Barbara, I did too, and I do think there's something to be said about for people that are listening to still get down beside the bed.
Yes, sir.
And or find your place of prayer and pray for that person that God brings into your life.
I would recommend that highly.
Yes, we've been married all these years. We've had ups and downs, and but we've stuck in there.
Yes, sir, we have.
I'm looking right now at our couch, and I know what it is. There's been times where I got on that couch.
Yes, sir.
And you came and got on your knees and begged me to come back in the bedroom. You remember that?
I sure did.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Not at the moment.
But
it took a little while.
But you know something, Barbara, that what I would say to a young couple, Truett Cathy actually taught me this. He said, you're going to have problems. Mm-hmm. And he said, people tell you to never let your children see you have a disagreement, an argument. But Truett said that's not true. And we took Truett's advice. Savannah saw some disagreements. She saw some arguments. She saw some intense fellowship. But what did we always tell Savannah, even though that might be going on? What did Savannah always know?
That we're always going to be together.
That's
we're
exactly
not going
right.
to ever get a divorce, Savannah. Everybody has disagreements.
That's exactly right, Barbara.
We'll stay together.
I think in our marriage and decades of marriage, that's something that I think we did right. We had upsides and downsides and good times and bad times, but our daughter always knew that we were going to stay together. I'll tell you something else, Barbara. Somebody said you live life by looking forward, but you understand it by looking back. I'll tell you something else we did. We had disagreements, but we didn't talk to others about those disagreements.
No, I would recommend not going to your parents and your siblings and other people. I think that should be between you and your maid.
I believe I could have gone to my mother and talked to Mom about the difficulty we had. But you and I reconciled, and we got over it pretty quick. But Mom wouldn't be over it. Or your mom wouldn't be over it.
It caused her to look at me different or her to look at you different.
That's exactly right. So I think, I think that's one of the things that we did right. And, I think about the fact we wanted to have a child, and you was one of 7. And we just thought we were going to have all these children. Amen? I mean,
Yes, sir, I sure did.
We just thought we would have all these children, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen the way we thought it was going to happen. But in our marriage, Barbara, what would probably be the happiest day? What would be the happiest day of our marriage to you?
I'd be bringing Savannah home.
Bringing Savannah Abigail home.
It was something I just didn't know was ever going to happen. But it did.
Barbara, I don't know how you feel about this, but the biggest change in my life wasn't getting married. I tell couples that the biggest transformation in my life was not getting married, because I married somebody who could care for themselves, and you did too.
Yes, sir.
But having a child was the biggest transformation in our marriage.
Yes, sir. It changed a lot. It changed our schedules for sure.
It changed our schedules. And I remember, Barbara, I used to be away. I don't know if you remember this, but I'd be away preaching. Mm-hmm. I'd be somewhere preaching, and I'd call back home. You would be getting that baby ready. You would be bathing, you would be feeding her dinner. And I remember many, many times before I would hang up, I would say to you, always remember, Barbara, I'm out here preaching. But what you're doing is far more important than what I'm doing. And I think we miss the importance of just the home. And the home is the foundation of everything.
Everything.
This is Family Month. But before there was a church, there was a family. And if we don't get the family right, we're in trouble. And you know, Barbara, through the years when I would be out preaching, many times they would take me to see things. You know, maybe I'm in an area and I'd go see something. But I can say the greatest memories I've had, not when I've gone and experienced something, it's when we as a family, when we were able to do something. Are there any memories, just some things that we did as a family that was a big impact in your life?
Well, I do remember when me and you went to Israel and you baptized me in the Jordan River. That was pretty special to me, real special.
Who would have ever dreamed from where we came from that we would end up in the Jordan River in Israel getting baptized?
That's right.
I never forget, Barbara, the very first time that you and I and Savannah to the Grand Canyon. You remember that?
I sure do.
You remember what Savannah said when we walked up and saw the Grand Canyon?
It takes your breath away every time.
Every time we got there about dark and we saw it. And then the next morning we saw it again.
Daddy, it takes your breath away every time.
It takes your breath away every time. We've had a wonderful life raising Savannah. And this is what I've learned. I assume you feel the same way. There are blessings to every season in marriage. I remember those early seasons when we struggled. We struggled so financially. But it taught me some things. To depend upon God, and it taught me to depend upon you. How do you feel?
I feel the same way, you know. I had to depend on the Lord and depend on you because that's really all I had.
If you'll just be conscientious of it, there's blessings of every season of life. You know, they ask a question, Barbara. They said, what does Benny dislike and what does Barbara dislike? And you and I was rehearsing, we was thinking about, what do we dislike? What would you say Benny dislikes?
Well, I know you for sure don't like green beans.
That's exactly. He don't like the green beans. But does he have a lot of patience to wait on?
None. Zero. No patience at all.
Okay, she's told what I dislike. Let me tell you what she hates. Here's what she hates worse than anything else. What we're doing right now. I mean, literally, I had to beg for this because this is just not you, Barbara.
No, it's not me.
But I want you to know I thank you for doing it. And Barbara, my desire is that what we've done and the few little things we've shared can just be a help to people.
I pray it will be.
I do too. Just be a help to people. And you know, this is what I've always believed about marriage, and this is what I preach. We think marriage is about all these things, and marriage is about God's kingdom.
It is.
God brought us together, Barbara, for the kingdom. We can do more for the kingdom together than I could separately or you could separately.
For sure.
And I wish couples could realize that our marriage, that it's not about me. Hey, I just happen to have that on. But that's a wonderful principle for marriage. You want to have a good marriage?
It's not about me.
And the moment we make it about me, we get in trouble.
We get in trouble.
And it truly is. It's about God's kingdom. I look here at just some of these pictures when we were just little old kids. There you are with a $35 dress on. I remember a $35 dress. We didn't have anything, but God's done some wonderful things.
Yes, He has. He's given us abundantly more than we could ever ask.
That's amen.